A very good morning to our viewers all across the world. Welcome to your Poetic Interlude on the Weekend Show. My name is Emeka Ozurumba, and today with me on the program, I have a prolific writer, an award-winning writer with me on the program, Samson Kukogho. He's with me live from the UK. Good morning, Samson.
Yeah, good morning, Emeka.
Okay,
I'm
hope you're
to be
hope you're
here
cool.
today. Yes,
All right,
well, it's
look,
not so.
look. I
It's
know,
kind
I
of
know.
warm
Yeah,
now.
yeah, I know it's warm. This summer, we're getting to summer. I read your book. I mean, I must give you plaudits. You're as good a writer as Chimamanda and the best Nigerian prose writers we have out there. When I read your book, The Devil's Pawn, it's an award-winning book. It won an Anna Prize, Association Nigerian Authors Prize, World Writers Prize. Can you tell me a little about the plot of your novel?
Well, that's the trickiest question you could have asked me because Devil's Spawn, the good thing or the most exciting thing about the novel is that it doesn't stick to a very straight plot
Plot,
line.
yes, yes.
So if I should try to tell you the story, I will get you confused unless you read it. But the basic essence of it is it's a story that intersects three different interests from various people who are looking for a goal. Unfortunately for the three of them, the achievement of that goal is tied to a single person. So two people need that person to die. One person needs that person to be alive. And these are powerful people in play. And in the midst of achieving this goal, there's the conflict that crosses various themes like love, politics, revenge,
Cultism.
corruption. Yes.
Yeah,
So it's really hard
because I
to.
can see the governor, like what you were saying, the governor was involved with sponsoring, was sponsoring cultists to actually help him do his bidding, and we see this in Nigerian politics most times because most of the thugs are actually politically sponsored. So your book has a very derivatory theme from the Nigerian, theme and espionage. So
Yes,
yeah,
you're very right. The
yeah,
story is entirely Nigerian. It may look um, more like the style of maybe Hadley Chase or Sid Michelle
yes,
Don
yes, yes,
or
yes,
people
yes,
like that.
yes.
But it is corely a Nigerian story. You can see there's a lot of tradition, there's culture, there's mysticism in it. But the story, in terms of being related to Nigeria, is real. You see issues like lynching. We just heard about somebody being killed for blasphemy recently in, I think, Sokoto, and then also somebody killed in Cross River State for witchcraft. These are things that are very endemic. It's something we see every day. The issue of rape, which started the story itself, the story began with a rape incident. This is very common also, and there are crimes that bother people, someone like me. And so I use my story as a two-edged sword to entertain and also tackle so many issues that are very important to me as a person. It is very Nigerian. The story is very Nigerian, even though it reads like a movie where the scenes are vivid and it's fast-paced. But when you read it, you say, yes, I know this place. Even if you don't know the fictional areas in real life, you would say this place looks like my area, or this could be a real place in Nigeria, or this incident could be a real incident in Nigeria.
Okay, so
So
so you're
it's
you're in
very
Hatfield.
Nigerian.
You're in Hatfield now in England
Yes.
in the UK. So, I mean, what is their traditional? What is the culture of writing? I mean, you're there purporting our literature too. So, how has your association with our fellow Nigerian authors in the United Kingdom and London been?
Interestingly, though, I kind of feel like just like Nigerians have taken over religion from the people who brought it to us, we've taken over
Literature,
literature from the
yes,
rest of the
we
world.
have, yes, like music
If you
too.
check most of the foreign journals and books, magazines, Nigerians seem to be everywhere, and that has manifested in Hatfield here. I don't see any literary presence the way we have it in Nigeria. Almost every city in Nigeria has a festival. Every not even just city, small community you have in universities, campuses all have festivals. But here, it's kind of like a big deal to organize a festival. It's like Nigerian election; it comes once in a while. So I wouldn't say they have it. They don't really have a vibrant literary
Literary
community.
culture
Some might say,
as they had in the 19th
yes. So
century and
we've taken
20th
over.
century.
Yes, what you have now are music festival, artists performing live on stage, sometimes some food festivals, some food fairs, some markets. You don't really have that. So I can tell you confidently, I have looked everywhere, even the university, which is just right beside me. I live like 5 minutes away from the university. I've gone to their notice boards, I've gone to check they don't have a single literary, you know, activity that is regular. These things are organized for months and years. So it's somehow I'm impressed that, because when you are in Nigeria, you don't really appreciate a lot of things that you have there. So I haven't really been impressed with how much work we've done, especially I myself. I do a lot with
Young
development
writers, yes, yes.
initiatives,
Also,
yeah,
yeah,
with writers.
initiatives. I
And
saw
I've
what you
always
do.
done them like, oh, just a small thing. When I discuss these things here, I went to the biggest library in Hartfield, and they were so impressed. I said, write a proposal about these things you're talking about. They are not normal to them. They're not everyday thing where somebody who is poor, who has no salaried job, can just organize a very big festival and invite big authors. It's not something that is you see every day here. And it's weirdly surprising.
Okay, I want to also ask you about your books. You're a poet. You have some books. You have I Said These Words, What Can Words Do, Words of Errors, who We Who Sowed Hurt and Bidded Pain. These are your collections of poetry also. So can you give me a little bit of your poetic journey?
Yes, the interesting thing is it's easier to write poetry. So you are more likely to find my works as a poet out there than in fiction. A fiction work takes a long process before you talk about plot. This one took me about 10 years to write. And so you can see how much difficult it is. But with poetry is more like you outpouring your soul at the moment. And that's why I have 5 collections of poetry. If you two of them with awards. But my poetic journey is a very interesting one. I started writing poetry as a way to express myself. I didn't really grow up in a large social environment. I had a very regulated childhood, and books were my interest or were my friends. And then from books, of course, when you read a lot, you like to say, "Let me write like this person." And I started writing poetry. I think there's a book, the African verse or something like that,
The
with
African
a lot
verse, the
of
West
African writers.
African verse, West African
West
verse.
African verse,
Yes.
yes, with a lot of African writers.
Yes,
That
like
was
Kofi
what,
Awono, Christopher
yes,
Okigbo, Wale
Soyinka, all
Soyinka.
of
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
name everybody of importance in the past. Then they were all in that book. And imagine a kid of, I think I was probably 12, 11 when I read the book the first time. I think something around that age. I was already reading lots of novels then, but I couldn't write a full story. But when I read this book with the short poems, of course, some of them were up to 5 pages. The African style then wasn't so short
Yes, it was
formed
it
and
was it was
regulated.
longer, like a
Yeah,
incantatory
longer
kind of.
form.
Yes.
Exactly. And reading those poems, I was like, these are very relatable stuff. Not, I was devouring Thomas Hardy and co. Then Charles Dickens.
Test of the
Now I'm
Hebrews.
seeing,
A
yes, I'm
season of
seeing
great
Nigerian,
expectation. Yeah.
Nigerian, African. I would later encounter some of those poems in the secondary school while I was in my WAEC and all of that. But this at this point, it was really life changing. I could say something about my situation in 4 or 5 lines, and I began to do that. So that's why poetry has been like the easiest go-to for me. One of the books you mentioned, "We Who Sowed Hurt and Beaded Pains," it's a book about depression. I passed through a phase. I wasn't really depressed, but I passed through a phase that seemed like things were not in the pattern, the trajectory I wanted, and I went into myself, and that book was battered. I would really say it's the singular work that I wrote from a place of, I want to work on a book in a particular theme, and put myself out there. So my poetry journey has been just me saying my things to the world. It hasn't been dramatic in any particular way. It's just poetry is just it's just you just saying, okay, this is how I think about this issue.
Okay, okay. Let me come down to the Nigerian child. You have initiatives for the Nigerian child. So, could you tell
Yes.
Nigerian children some of your initiatives to make them right?
So I've done it's been quite a lot. I started with one called Youth Engage, where I bring young people together in a place, and a full day where they snack, and while snacking, you slowly introduce them to writing and the importance of faith. And I think I would like to start from the importance of faith more than what I have done, because a lot of people are doing other things. I don't think it's about what I've done. I think the important message is why it's important for people to write. Like myself, using my own story as a kid, in a regulated environment, really regulated. I It was important for me to. Okay, it looks like we have. Oh,
Uh, Looks like we have an interruption in our signal. It was so nice to talk to Samson Kukogho from Hatfield in London, outside London in the United Kingdom in England. You know, he was telling me about his writer's journey, and it has just been so fascinating. I want you out there to go and get his book, The Devil's Pawn. Samson Kukogho, thank you so much for coming on our program. I'm going to still invite you on the program. It's been so nice having you, and don't go anywhere and stay tuned, my lovely audience, because we have more coming up for you on The Weekend Show. Okay, Samson.